The loss by 1 point to Chicago for Atlanta, the backcourt combined for 34 points. So maybe they were a basket away from being 2-2 against Chicago in the regular season. What we're saying is Atlanta's backcourt has to play big if they're going to have a chance against Chicago.
And you look at this past series for the Hawks, and when their bench contributed, it made a big difference for them. So coming into the Bulls series, you're looking at two teams that use their bench in very different manners.
That's right, and I'm not really, Mike, looking at the season series here, 3-1. I'm kind of looking at the Bulls being the Bulls and the Hawks being the Hawks, and the Bulls rely heavily on their bench. They go probably 12 deep. They've got probably the deepest injured list in the league. They put Dickie Simpkins on there every playoff series. And then, Phil Jackson says he's saving Robert Parrish for the Victory Day parade. So, I mean, I don't know if they need the bench when you've got Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, but they've got it if they need it.
Boy, the Hawks starters possibly fatigued. I mean, here they've not only played a 5-game series, but they've also played a lot of minutes. Okay, meanwhile, for the Bulls, can they just continue to go to Michael Jordan in the fourth quarter like they did in every game with the Bullets?
Well, I think as long as number 23 is a Bull, then the Bulls are going to be somewhat dependent on him. It's going to take a toll when they start playing more quality opponents. But, a little while ago, we introduced a term called the Bull Bait Bowl. That was when the Cavaliers were playing the Bullets for the right to play the Bulls. I think we just witnessed the Bull Bait Bowl 2 between the Hawks and the Pistons, because realistically speaking, I think if the Pistons had won, the Bulls would sweep them. I'm going to give the Hawks 1 game and call it Bulls in 5.
Wow, Doc, very definitive. Okay, meanwhile, let's switch over to the Western Conference. The Seattle-Houston series begins tomorrow night at the Summit. Now, Pete, Houston had a really hard time against Seattle. They lost 13 straight coming into this season. Swept them last year in the playoffs, but it's a different story this year, isn't it?
So the Rockets have an awful lot of incentive going for them, but they also beat them 3 out of 4 this year because they're a different team. Instead of a CBA team, a bunch of reserves, they've got a lot of guys to go to. They picked up Charles Barkley. They can no longer, they've got guys now that command the double team, whereas the Sonics can't double and triple Akeem as they did last year. Not only do they have Barkley, they've got Kevin Willis, they've got Eddie Johnson, they've got Sedell Threet. I mean, you see here how Peyton double teams. The Sonics were coming from different areas to confuse Akeem. And although Akeem worked very hard this year on taking and making his shot when double and triple teamed, they really don't need him. And also the Sonics aren't the same team. They've changed up centers. How much is Jim McIlvain going to play? They've got Terry Cummings now. And you've got Nate McMillan, who was a big factor last year in that series, and he's injured.
Hey, can we play in this game, too? You don't mind, do you?
Jump in. Jump in, Mike.
You want to talk about changing mentalities and thoughts here. Seattle goes from trying to guard people off the dribble in the Phoenix series, those small little guys with the basketball, to now all of a sudden facing post-ups. Barkley, Olajuwon, Kevin Willis, Drexler. They got to go back to their traps.
Hallmark Entertainment presents the greatest journey to the greatest wonders.
You don't recognize me?
Of the greatest adventure ever told.
All the secrets of the world.
What secrets? Vanessa Williams, Bernadette Peters, and Armand Assante. The Odyssey, Sunday in 2 weeks on NBC.
This is the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by Prudential, bringing strength and stability to America's families through insurance, healthcare, real estate, and financial services.
Halftime in Utah with the Jazz leading the Lakers 52-40. Karl Malone leads all scorers with 13 points. Shaquille O'Neal held to just 8 points in the first half. Hi, everybody. Hannah Storm. Let's get right to the NBA scoreboard. In the first game of the day, Miami beat Orlando 91-83 in the decisive 5th game of that series. Miami moves on to play New York in the Eastern Conference semifinals. And Orlando with another valiant effort without Horace Grant and Ronnie Cycli. They whittled a 17-point deficit down to 4 late in the 4th. But Tim Hardaway's shot gave Miami a 6-point lead. Orlando still had life. Penny Hardaway nailing the three-pointer, bringing the Magic to within 3, 86-83 with 35 seconds left. But then Hardaway, Tim, answers right back with the long three-point, putting Miami up by 6. He only scored 11 points, but the 2 key baskets down the stretch, an emotional scene on the Magic bench. They're beaten 91-83, and Miami now faces the Knicks in round 2.
This is what we want. I'm quite sure they want to see us too. They said we'll be back in 2 weeks. Instead, it's 3 weeks, so we'll see them on Wednesday.
Game 1 of the Knicks and the Heat in Miami on Wednesday. There was also a Game 5 in Atlanta today. The Hawks beating the Pistons, so Atlanta advances to the second round where the defending champion Bulls await. And Doug Collins looking to guide the Pistons to their first playoff series win since '91. Late third quarter, Grant Hill driving the lane, hits the shot. He had 12 points in the third, equaling the Hawks' total in that quarter, and the Pistons were up by 8 after 3. Game tied at 77, just over a minute left. Christian Laettner, nice move. He just beats the shot clock. He led all scorers with 23 points. Pistons get it back, but Grant Hill's shot blocked by Dikembe Mutombo, who had 6 blocks on the day. At the other end, Ty Corbin finding Steve Smith for the three-pointer that puts Atlanta up by 5. They win it 84-79, and now they must face the Bulls in the Eastern Conference semifinals.
The last 9 minutes were incredible. The 4 guys making huge contributions. In this type of situation, in a playoff, pressure-packed situation, it was incredible.
As I told our players, greatness is forged in these kind of moments.